For more on Walt Disney and its business strategies, I'm joined by Sam Gennawey from Los Angeles. He's the author of the Disneyland Story and an associate from Katherine Padilla and Associates. Sam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you for inviting.
So Sam, let's focus quickly on Disney's earnings. They did beat expectations, a big boost from Star Wars. The TV business did take a hit. Now, what was interesting is that Disney's parks and resorts posted a profit increase of around 22% from a year earlier. In fact, the theme parks generated more than $16 billion in revenue for Disney last year, making them the company's second biggest business unit. So Sam, what is Disney's success? Why are the parks still growing so much?
Well, it is really impressive. I believe that a lot of it has to do with the bettering of the economy. People are looking for vacations or opportunities for entertainment that are reasonably priced, and the theme parks are certainly that. There's certainly a pent-up demand in different marketplaces. In Florida, they've been able to create a sort of a premier vacation experience. In California, it's become the sort of club for Southern California residents to go and visit. Their European parks are starting to turn around. Tokyo Disneyland, of course, is very successful. And the new Asian parks are going to be very fascinating to see what happens with those.
Well, you mentioned that, and that is absolutely right. Disney China expected to open in June, the Shanghai Disney Resort. And it shows that Disney is really betting that China's growing middle class will continue to spend, and that the growth slowdown that we're seeing is not an issue. Is this bet going to pay off? What are your thoughts?
My thought is that they've really studied the market very hard, and they recognize that what were disadvantages at Hong Kong Disneyland, things that made it a very slow starter, they're going to be able to not have as in Shanghai. They recognize that intellectual properties for the Chinese market are somewhat limited, that their normal standby ideas, standby concepts that they would use wouldn't necessarily work in the Chinese park. I think from an architectural and design point of view, it's also going to be something very different and stand out from unlike any of the other castle parks. It's going to be a very special, very unique place.
Well, let's talk about some of these special features some more. What exactly is Disney doing to appeal specifically to the Chinese consumer?
Well, first of all, the layout of the park itself doesn't have the traditional Main Street where it's a narrow corridor that people enter and they're able to enjoy before going on all the rides and attractions. It's going to be a bit more of a wandering. There's also a recognition that the popular characters are more of the more recent animated films or Pixar films or Pirates of the Caribbean, that the historic films like Snow White have little relevance to the Chinese market. So they're taking advantage of different intellectual properties. Frankly, I'm excited about what they're going to do for their version of Tomorrowland with a Tron roller coaster. That one does look like it's going to be a lot of fun. The castle is also different. Traditionally, the castle's been an icon in the center of the park, but in this particular case, it's going to be an active destination where they're going to be able to highlight all of the different princesses. So it's much larger than any of the castles that have been built before.
Well, Sam, I personally have very fond memories of my first time at Disney in Orlando. Let's talk about the pricing strategy here, because it is somewhat different. Tickets for the Shanghai park will be priced at about 20% cheaper than for Hong Kong. Regular tickets, just to put that in perspective, around $56 in Shanghai compared to $69 for a one-day pass for an adult in Hong Kong. And Disney's also saying that they're going to charge higher prices during peak periods, such as weekends and public holidays. What do you think about the pricing strategy?
This idea of surge pricing is very interesting. It is already going to be experimenting here in Universal Studios Hollywood. They're giving that a shot now, so you can buy your ticket, and if you buy it on a weekend, your ticket's going to be much more expensive than it is on a weekday. I think it's good for the value for Chinese visitors. They're going towards as you said, the growing middle class in China, which isn't quite there yet, and so they've made the pricing very affordable. I think that they're realistic, recognizing that they don't have the sort of popular intellectual properties that are going to drive people directly to the park, so they have to sell the whole experience. So by making the price affordable, I think is very good, and it'll get people into the habit or the tradition of going into the park again and again and again. And that's what's going to make Shanghai Disneyland very successful, if they can get repeat business. If it's not a just one-time go and visit, and then let's go to some of the other different tourist destinations that are developing in China right now.
Well, how much of the general Disneyland themes, parks, and attraction resorts do rely on repeat business?
Oh, quite a bit. In California, Disneyland in California, the vast majority of the visitors are actually from Southern California. There's rumored to be up to 1 million annual pass holders who pay, in a sense, a subscription price, once a month fee in order to go to the park. So for Southern California, it is everything. In Tokyo Disneyland, the Oriental Land Company benefits from the tradition of people repeat visits and then buying small gifts. So they have a very high per capita. In Florida, for the Disney resorts in Florida, they're going now for more of a premium experience. We don't need to have you come back every year. We'd rather you come back every couple of years and spend a lot more money at one of our more high-end resorts. So that's shifting as well. It's very, very important to get people to come back again and again and again because the capital cost of improving the parks is so high these days.